there was a major repair that was done, and I kind of like led the team on that and showing them how to do it, how it's to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's, like I said, it's not a matter of trying to brag about it. It's just something that's normal. It's part of the job. A lot of this stuff is basically part of the job. It's just being a mechanic, if you will.
Yeah, it's a part of a job, but I just want some specific examples for everything you were doing. Yeah.
Well, replacing the drive unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we yeah.
Okay. Okay, we can later discuss if you come up with anything.
Okay, I'll come back with that.
So we can move on to the next company then, which was Miracle, and you worked as maintenance supervisor there, right?
Right.
So okay, so one thing that was confusing me, that in your resume it was given you left the job in June 2018, and in your LinkedIn it was May 2018. So which one is like more accurate?
June of 2018.
Okay, June 2018. That's fine.
When I left you.
Okay. And again, what were your daily responsibilities at this company?
There, I was responsible for facilities, manufacturing, and packaging equipment. There was 21 people, and it was 2 shifts, and it was like 11 mechanics and 10 janitors.
Okay.
Divided amongst 2 shifts, and I was in charge of the whole operation in terms of maintenance.
Okay. And again, when you joined the company, like why did they hire you, or what was the company struggling with when you joined the company?
What they struggling with?
Yeah.
I think it was just a matter of keeping things going. Downtime. They had a lot of downtime. So my job was to improve their downtime. And we did that through preventive maintenance, proactive maintenance, and just working together as a team. It was hard, but we managed to get through it. There were some changes, and then they had other internal issues. We had a lot of audits that was going on, internal and external audits that needed to be taken care of with a lot of issues. So we improved on all of that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, go ahead.
No, I listen to that.
Mm-hmm. And how many downtimes were they having?
Well, they had downtime for a while every day there. You know, it was they had
a major example probably. Yeah.
Well, the way it's been handled there, you have different pieces of equipment that will go down, and you would be able to move the people from one piece of equipment to another while you had time to go ahead on and work on it. So we had one piece of equipment, it was down for maybe 2 weeks waiting on parts. But other than that, you know, you maintain it just by being proactive and reactive.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Okay. And like any example of like what was that piece of equipment that was under downtime and you proactively handled, proactively made it work again? So like, any one example of the equipment that was down?
Well, let me see. It could be, let's say if we had an electrical problem with the tablet press machine,
Okay.
and it was modified by someone, butchered, if you will, and you go out and you have to go over it and fix it accordingly, put it back to original specifications because somebody had taken it out and they bypassed some wiring. So that's something that takes time that, you go ahead and fix and figure out, and it runs. Another example was when an electronic component will go out, a motherboard or something, go out with the PLCs on a blender or something like that there. And it's just a matter of troubleshooting and repairing it. Sometimes maybe some bearings will go bad. A lot of things was going on due to lack of maintenance. And you go out and people just passing it by. So the thing is just get into it, tear it down, and kind of like give it. People call it a Tony once-over. That's the name that I kind of like got with it. It's like you got a piece of equipment, you're at a place, and it's like, okay, you get it, and you go through it once. You do a thorough check of the piece of equipment. And that way, when you return it back to production, it's good to go. Regardless of how small or how big the problem is, you give it a complete check, a rundown, go over, and make all necessary repairs, whether it was warranted or not, whether it was a problem or not. So that way, it comes in for one thing, or it may go down for one thing, but it has maybe 2 or 3 other problems. So you continue on fixing everything before you turn it back over to production. Because they again have it to where that production and downtime is very critical. And you can't just patch it up. Sometimes they give you a half hour, you give it a quick fix, but then it's going to end up back in the shop again. So, in given the chance and the time to get it, you keep it and you go through it. So when you return it, everything is done. You have no problem. So that's how you improve the downtime like that there. And amongst other things as well. Excuse me.
Okay. And while you were there for I think 1 year or something, more than 1 year. So how much overall, if you don't remember a specific number, overall how much downtime were you able to reduce for them?
Well, it went from
percentage.
It went from, I say, we improved about 60-70%.
That's great. Okay. Okay, and again, did you make any major change in their workflow or in their operations?
In the operation?
Yeah, in their operations. Any major change, any new implementation of procedures?
Well, I couldn't say anything that they had in place. I kind of like created my own thing. So everything that was done was pretty much me making it up and doing it as I went along with it on an as-needed basis.
You created your own things. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And again, any example of what procedures did you create?
Well, let's just say, for instance, we have dust collectors. We have we have about like 10 dust collectors. And the filtering system, the filters, this saved them a lot of money. The filters was always getting clogged up. And that was due to the fact that the misters, the vibrators was not working properly. And they had a thing to where that they had a company that would come out and clean the filters and give them exchange, take the filters out and clean them in exchange, give them some other filters. And come to find out those filters were all bad. So we ended up buying new filters in order to keep that from happening. So I implemented the fact that rather than having them clean, just replace. something small, and it worked out much better. Much better.
Hmm. Like again, if you can quantify that, how much did you improve?
How much did we save?
Yeah, how much you saved?
Money wise?
Yeah, money wise.
Wow. That's somewhere up into the hundreds to thousands of dollars.
Oh, that's great. Like we can say 4 figures. You save 4-figure money.
Say it again?
Yeah, you saved 4 figures uh, in dollars, right?
Yes.
100,000. So okay. And that was a really good example, by the way. So similar to that, any other thing that you implemented, you created yourself?
I implemented restoring a piece of equipment back to its original specs, whereas they was trying to modify it to make it run, and it never did work. So I found the part. It was an old piece of equipment, and I sourced out a company where I can get the parts from, and I got the parts, and was able to go ahead on and fix it from there.
Okay. And again, any number for that? How much improvement did this have?
Well, that improvement came into production, so I couldn't say the loss with that because it was a piece of equipment that was down when I got there. But they managed to make a lot of money off of that.
Mhm. Okay.
It improved the process.
Yeah. Can you repeat that, please?
Say it again?
Yeah, you were saying something. Can you repeat that, please?
No, I'm saying it improved the process,
Oh, okay.
the
That's fine.
production process, manufacturing.
Okay. And again, anything related to inventory management here? Did you improve that inventory management process?
And maintenance management, we'll say it again?
Yeah. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. Did you improve their inventory management process?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So what was the problem that you addressed?
They had a problem. Well, it's just a matter of their parts inventory. The inventory control was bad, and it's like going into just picture this, going into a hardware store and everything's just disarray, just piled up, So it's just a matter of organizing the parts stock room and putting things in order accordingly, in order as needed. Order parts and inventory as needed.
Okay, so it's like just ordering, putting everything in order.
Yeah.
Okay, and why was this case that they were not able to manage this before? Like, what were they not implementing that you did to organize it in a much better way?
I think it's just a matter of lack of caring. Some people with certain departments, it's like you had three different departments, and they had it all separated, So it was just a matter of bringing it up to where that, and then the guys were against each other for the different shifts. They was competing. So it's like, I'm going to hold these parts or hide these parts, so when we need it, I know where it's at. Whereas the other shift guys don't know where it's at. So it was just a matter of reorganization for the part for that, so that we can all share this stuff. Everybody know where everything is at, and then being able to go ahead and put your hands on what you need rather than going around the plant, throughout the plant, and anywhere else looking for the stuff for what you need. And it's just a matter of bringing everybody and everything together as a team, to work together as a team.
Okay. And how many people were you managing in a team?
It was a total of 21 people. Well, really, it was like for far as the mechanics go, it was 10 mechanics, but then you had 11 sanitation.
Oh, okay, that was like for all the projects. I was, yeah. You mentioned it in like 10 minutes ago. That was for
Yes.
all the projects, right? Okay. And anything that you improved in their supply chain process, maybe again onboarding new suppliers or uh, avoiding delays in shipments.
Yes, I made my own contacts with all vendors for everything that was needed.
Okay.
So I must have got in touch with it's a number of vendors because it's a different operation. I mean, it's a bigger operation. You know, it needed a lot of things. So
Approximately how many vendors?
how many vendors? Let's see.
Yeah.
I'd say anywhere from 6 to 10 vendors, if not more. But I'm just saying that what I can think of offhand.
Hmm. Okay, approximately 6 to 10. And like, do you have any example for example, if there was any kind of conflict with your vendors and you overcome that conflict? So, do you have an example for that?
Conflict with the vendors, as far as
Yeah.
you mean one vendor versus another vendor?
Yeah, maybe kind conflict like maybe they were delaying their processes a lot, and or maybe you were just about to lose the contract with them, and then you managed to overcome the challenge.
Yes, there was
Stuff
there
like
was
that.
some. Yeah, there was a couple. And what you do, I would switch vendors. You know, sometimes you have some vendors that would charge more for certain items, and you have some that would charge less. So you kind of like play both ends. There's another
Hmm.
word that I'm using. There's another word I'm looking for that. When you have two vendors that are supplying you with the same thing, but this vendor over here is more of a demand. This other vendor over here is going to make you wait as if you
Hmm.
really needed them and you couldn't do it without them. So rather than doing that, this is how it was done. I find it from somebody
Hmm.
else. They would be further out, but at the same time, I can get them. It was more dependable. And then when I stopped buying it from that vendor, then they wanted to know why I'm not purchasing from them no more. So then they would come down and they would come correct. So I dealt with the conflict. I don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. And like, if you can give me specific example of changing the vendors, that's also good. If you can think of one example.
Okay, I can give you one offhand. Dust collectors, vendors. Well, as far as the dust collector filters, one company, prime example, they would give me a good price on some, and then they met the demand, and
Mm-hmm.
then another one they give me a better price, and
Mm-hmm.
they were better. Whereas the vendor that I'm dealing with in the beginning, the first one, they got to the point to where that they would delay in their response time. So I found another vendor to take care of that.
Hmm.
Is that the example you were looking for, something like that?
Yeah, that's fine. And overall, if you just compare that, they were overcharging you, and then you switched to the other vendor. So, how much money were you able to save after switching to the other vendors? Over approximate amount.
Mm, it was probably about $300 or $400 per order. So if you
Mhm.
order them twice, it would be maybe $600, $600 to $1,000 maybe. It depends on. Yeah, I mean that was on a consumable. That was on consumable items. But then when it came to other things were like specialty items, as far as different pieces of equipment. So you can go to, like I said, this here varies because you have so many different departments, and there were certain items you had to buy from the manufacturer, and there were certain items you could buy aftermarket. You know, so that there varies.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, so any other were there any unscheduled, unplanned repairs?
All the time. I mean, something can go down. It just all of a sudden something will break, and it's unscheduled. It just happened. So it's just a matter of you having the proper tools, no proper parts to repair it. Or you have to make up something. You know, so you get unplanned and unscheduled repairs all the time.
So any one example of the most challenging unscheduled repair, like you were able to maybe improve a lot of efficiency after that, or in terms of the achievement as well, like you were able to achieve a lot after overcoming this unscheduled repair, something like that. One example for this most challenging one.
We had a problem. Well, we couldn't do nothing with that. Like I couldn't use. There's a lot of different issues and a lot of different variations because we had a problem with some printers. Let me back up a little bit again. We had problems with VideoJet, and they had somebody prior to me getting there. They was doing them in-house repairs. A lot of them were not good. So we ended up calling the manufacturer and had them come out to go through all the equipment to tune it up, if you will. And you was able to save a lot of time and money that way because they fixed a lot of things that was improperly repaired.
And how much time were you able to save?
Oh, we saved hours because it was done right.
Yeah, approximately how many hours?
Well, that depends on how much over a period of time, over a period of a week, a month, a year.
Yeah, a week.
A week?
Yeah.
You can save at least 10, 20 hours a week.
Okay. And okay. Again, any training program for the employees that you created?
No.
Not for this one.
Only on the job, hands-on.
Okay.
And it's not, it's just a matter of training in terms of learning how to work different pieces of equipment. We had a wastewater treatment system, and it was just a matter of training them how to run the system.
Okay. Okay, so any other examples if you want to share with me before I move on to the next company?